Twitter's Elon Musk has agreed to train with famed UFC fighter Georges St. Pierre in anticipation of his cage match with Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg.
However, the fight might be squashed altogether because Mark Zuckerberg's mom told him he couldn't fight. May Musk recently tweeted about the much anticipated brawl, quote, "And now the fight has been canceled. Great relief."
So this is the moms getting in here saying no?
Yeah, so apparently Zuckerberg said that his mother had these concerns about him actually fighting, and that's why he wasn't going to be able to do it. This is after so many news organizations made all of these graphics showing head-to-head stats, height, weight, wingspan, special skills, training in Krav Maga, whatever it was they had under their belt that was likely to give them a competitive advantage. And it seems like there is perhaps conveniently an excuse now not to go tete-a-tete.
I can picture Musk carrying the sink, the infamous sink, into the arena. Let that sink in.
Yeah, if it was a battle of puns, I think that Elon Musk might win, but only because he steals so many other people's memes off the internet.
Being pulled by the dog, the whatever that guy is. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this. We mentioned this a little bit yesterday in the context of the RFK weightlifting videos that went so viral. Why do you think that this has fascinated the public so much?
Because it's funny.
That's it.
There's nothing beyond that. Sometimes it's funny and we just like to be entertained. Are you not entertained?
I mean, there is something unique about such high-profile figures whose behavior really does affect stock prices and global economies, being willing to engage, I think in Musk's case at least, very seriously in behavior that ordinarily would be seen as unbecoming of a CEO.
Did you see the ketamine report?
The ketamine report?
Musk does some ketamine. Musk does ketamine regularly, according to the Wall Street Journal. I saw just a banger of an opening paragraph from this Wall Street Journal piece on, here it is. Elon Musk takes ketamine. Sergey Brin does magic mushrooms, and so on. It's this long piece about how all these famous people are just getting into that kind of, which I have no problem with. I should condone it for everyone, not just for the wealthy and the people who have enough resources to avoid criminal penalties for it. But anyway. Yeah,
I mean, historically, a lack of confidence in a CEO can, as I was saying, negatively affect stock price. And we've seen Elon Musk's statements that he's made on Twitter, things that he said in interviews, cause there to be disturbances there as well. The fact of his investment in Twitter made many Tesla investors very skeptical and afraid. Some came out talking about how it seemed like he wasn't devoting enough attention to his main gig, as it were. And one might expect that this kind of behavior might speak to, in a different time period, a kind of instability, some questions about judgment, a lack of confidence in the integrity.
Ketamine is supposed to stable you.
I'm talking about the cage fight. Okay. And questions about the maturity of the person that's involved and all these other kinds of things. And I do think that he has suffered financially as a consequence of some of these behaviors. And yet we do seem to be moving into a world where either because he's so rich, he's just indifferent to those kinds of stock fluctuations, or because there's just new normals that are being set with respect to how CEOs are able to publicly behave while still being considered to have professional credibility.
The potential fight between Musk and Zuckerberg is kind of a joke, though, right? It's not, I don't know that it's malicious. I think it's just kind of funny.
Wait a minute. Musk represented that he was being fully serious.
Right.
So I'm not saying it's malicious, but it seems serious. That's why there was this engagement about it. That it seemed like this is something that plausibly Musk might do.
Serious in like you could do the dunk tank for charity or something like that?
Sure, except for that it's a physical fight and not a thing that little kids can participate in at a fair.
But
I don't. Help me understand your point. You think that it's not it's not an aberrant behavior for two CEOs of multi-billion-dollar companies to want to engage in fisticuffs because they are feeling competitive about each other with each other in the tech space?
No, that doesn't sound that weird.
Okay.
Yeah, tech people are weird.
Is there an instance of something like that having happened before that makes it feel like this is relatively normal to
They're
you.
not actually like punching each other or beating each other in the street. They're talking some trash, some smack on social media.
And is that a thing CEOs typically do, is talk smack about each other on social media?
I guess because these are two of the most important and pivotal and wealthiest CEOs there are. And that's
I feel like it's not especially controversial to point out that this is new behavior. That's a value neutral judgment. I'm not saying it's bad behavior. I'm not saying they shouldn't have a fight. I'm just saying that historically, people didn't behave like this. And historically when there were
duel over minor, scuffles.
Which CEOs dueled over minor scuffles?
I mean, notable people in the 1800s.
So you're saying that some like British parliamentary people who got into fights.
Two of our vice president and one of the founders of our country was killed over.
That's not the question.
A dispute.
If you're like citing Hamilton for the proposition that sometimes two CEOs have public fights, like literal fights, in a cage match, then I don't know to tell you. It's not. I don't think it's controversial to point out that this is a relatively novel event. That's why it got so much media pickup and why people were kind of amused and excited about the prospect of it happening. It seemed literally plausible and not just like smack talk, because Elon Musk is someone who has demonstrated that he's extremely literal, hence the sink joke, that he is willing to do things that are somewhat outlandish, like paint over the Twitter sign outside of the headquarters in San Francisco, and that he has demonstrated an interest in some of these like fitnessy types of realms, and that he might really do it. And that is why it's so interesting. It's because it's so odd. It's so different. It's so new. It's so controversial. And I do think that if anything, the choice to call it off, which seems to be led by Mark Zuckerberg, or at least Mark Zuckerberg's mom, is the return to normal here.
I mean, but I'm just pushing back at, like, again, the newness part of it. Violent, even unstructured physical violence between men is just on the historical scale extremely common until very recently. I mean, it's decreased dramatically over time. Like bar fights used to be way more common. Again, before that, duels. People getting just, like, stabbed at dinner with your friends as part of like the medieval experience, right? The capacity for violence that especially male human beings have with each other it's like hardwired into your biology, I guess.
And you expect that of two CEOs.
I mean, you're emphasizing like the CEO part,
I am.
Notable.
No, but Robbie, this isn't Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk bumped into each other at a bar, had too much to drink, someone insulted somebody's wife, and then they got into a brawl. This is with knowledge of forethought and planning and sitting behind the comfort of one's own computer, randomly saying, because Mark Zuckerberg is launching a Twitter competitor, because Meta is launching a Twitter competitor, that I want to physically fight someone else, which seems like a joke. That's just a joke, and very much in the line of what Elon Musk likes to say. But Mark Zuckerberg says, yeah, totes, let's do it. I'm serious. And then we have a week of news cycle about it before it's finally seemingly called off. That feels like a different kind of escalation than, I got jostled in the... Look, I've been jostled in the bar and almost wanted to get into a fist fight myself, but me deciding to randomly tweet at Jake Tapper or some other news personality and say, hey, Jake, get your gloves on. We're going to go 3 rounds. This is the time and the place. That feels weird. Different. That feels like an escalation.
It's a modern manifestation of a familiar phenomenon. It's exactly akin to insulting the person's wife or their sexual prowess or something.
A competitive.
He's calling out his Meta is Mark Zuckerberg's great love, probably. I mean, tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I'm totally way off base here.
Please
I don't think I am. And I use my words, and I'm sure you do most of the time as well, Brianna. I wouldn't want to face your fists.
Darn snappy.
I'm sitting way over here.
That's exercising some good judgment, Robbie.
All right, tomorrow on Rising, hey, that's the name of our show. Writer Merrick Vaughn will join us to discuss how Congress is doubling down on explosive claims of illegal UFO retrieval programs. You will not want to miss that.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't ever miss any of our content. And for those of you who prefer to listen while you're on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Bye-bye.
Bye.